Well, folks, welcome back to last the last leg of the day, which is a pretty big deal in all honesty. Where today we are now going to fly. If you remember, this was flown back in the first leg of the first day, actually, where we came from Victoria to Seattle. This is the de Havilland Canada 2 Beaver, which is a beautiful little plane designed and released just around the after the end of World War II, actually designed in-house in Canada, and serves very proudly as one of the most rugged and reliable planes anywhere in the world. So, I mean, I personally love this plane, and I'm sure if you ever talk to any friends of yours who are pilots, they'll tell you something similar about the Beaver if they've ever encountered. At the moment, we're sitting here. We have our pitot covers on, so we're just going to go ahead and quickly reflight the aircraft. Gotta make sure rudder lock is off. Pitot cover is also off. So, we're now going to go ahead and start up the aircraft. Our batteries, all our instruments on. We have a pretty simple flight plan today, going up to Kamloops. It shouldn't be pretty bad at all. It should be a quite scenic flight if I'm not mistaken, actually. So we'll go ahead and turn on the nav lights. Since we're in the plane, go ahead, close the doors. So we're all stowed away there. There we go. So, ignition to both. We'll be starting off on the center tank where we're going to verify all fuel. We have just under half a tank for the middle tank, and we have a mostly full tank in front. That's pretty good for us. Today we'll be cruising quite high, actually. We'll go up to about 10,000 probably, which is pretty high up. Could be, borderline hypoxic for some situations, but we'll be pretty good today. So I mentioned before, just give ourselves a bit of prop. We start pumping. 2, 3, 4, and we give clear prop. There we go. So we set our prop forward now. Take a look at our RPM and our pressure. Just run at 1,000 just for a bit to get us some warm, to get our engines all warmed up, make sure nothing's matter. Currently, the altimeter here is 2961. So let's go ahead and just set our altimeter accordingly. There we go. Currently, we're heading at 70. That is all correct. And we are going to be taking off on runway 16, which remember is where we landed. The bearing for runway 16 is actually 159. So let's go ahead and set that. Just going to idle out our throttle a bit for now. We don't want to burn too much precious fuel. And there we go. We're set. So now, considering we are off, the engine's on, turn on our beacon. That's all set. We can actually begin taxiing, setting our flaps to takeoff. As you can see here, the flaps are coming out. Door are set. We'll go ahead. Give ourselves some throttle. Parking brake off. And we're on the way. So it shouldn't take us too long to taxi, since Kelowna is not the biggest of airports, but it's definitely a beautiful place to fly into, so I hope you can appreciate all the scenery we have around. We've got a virtual cabin ready to go. And yes, as you can see, we are on pontoons, which means that we're able to land on water. We picked this because we knew for this memorial flight scenario we would be landing on water and on land with this plane. These are going to be some of the land segments. We're going to be landing on firm ground over in Kamloops as well. But later on, we're going to be landing in the water, namely, the most important one being back in Victoria, landing in the harbor, not at YYJ. So hence this aircraft gives us a pretty good all-around usability. And like I said, it's one of the most reliable planes out there, so no reason to worry about anything. Just taxiing a bit now, getting up to runway 16. It's a pretty nice day out today, actually. Kamloops, the weather's not going to be brilliant from what I've seen. Maybe quite difficult for us to land there, but we're going to do our best to get down on the ground in Kamloops, and worst comes to worst, we have to find an alternative. Though I'm really hoping we don't have to go that far. I don't think we should have to go that far. Alright, so we're continuing to runway 16. We're actually going to just be turning right just over there. So in anticipation, turn our landing lights, strobe lights on. Don't need much else. We're going to set our prop forward. Just need a little bit of power, don't need much. Here we are, turning onto the runway. And since we're all alone, we're going to line up in the middle here. We're going to spool up. Setting our pressure at 3,500. A lot of wind today, as you can see. And considering this aircraft is capable of short takeoff and landing, we're already airborne. Get our pitch up to 1,000. Our landing gear is coming up, as you can see, right into the pontoons. We're set our flaps to climb. Pull our RPM back to 2,000. Set our climb rate at 600. Autopilot's handling that for us now. Now we're just going to use nav to make our turn, get ourselves onto the right course. There is our routing. Beautiful. And there is Kelowna Airport, where we just departed. We're continuing our climb. with the mist out, it's really quite a beautiful day today, even with the winds coming in. So I hope you're enjoying the sights, and we should be up in the air in no time. As you can see, it should take us about half an hour to get where we want to go, assuming all goes well. No reason it shouldn't. So sit back and enjoy the ride. You see any just, the aircraft just wobbling left and right ever so slightly. That's, such a small aircraft, the winds have that much of an effect on them, even though if you were in a plane like the A320 we were in just for the flight before this, you could barely feel it. So that's an interesting tidbit for those of you who are paying, super close attention to the details of this aircraft. Alright, folks, since the weather has updated and there's going to be some pretty nasty winds up there, I'm actually going to just bring our cruising altitude down to 7,000. Let's actually. No. Alright, folks, so as we've come up here, we can track our flaps, we no longer need them. At 7,000, we're going to reduce our RPM to 1,600. And we're actually going to go for 26.2 or so, I think. As you can see, folks, we have some pretty nasty winds out here, but we're doing our best. The autopilot's wrestling with it, trying to get us back out to where we need to be. But what can you do? Just give it a bit of throttle, pump it back up. There we go, that's better. Let's keep this 1700 manifold pressure right around 2.8. See how it fares with that. We're making pretty good time. It says it should be just under half an hour before we get there. Maybe even sooner, who knows. Either way, beautiful view out the cockpit today. I'm sure you'll agree. And it's one beautiful plane. Feels like a very beastie plane to me, if that makes any sense. Feels rugged, feels outdoorsy, and it just looks good in these settings. So hey ho. I hope you all can enjoy it as much as me, and I'm glad you all are here with me today. Alright folks, we're continuing to descend towards Kamloops. Just to give you an idea where we are, we'll be following along this river. Kamloops, the actual city, is just over here, and the airport is just across the water there. So we've got to keep our eyes out. We do have a bit of a crosswind pushing our nose about, but isn't much of a problem. We still have speed and plenty of fuel, so if we need to go around, we can go around. So far, it's pretty misty, as you can see. So we're going to level off at 3,000. Not going to push our luck any further since we're already pretty close to the ground. You can see roads and houses and cars going around even. It's really quite amazing from up here what you can see. It's quite beautiful. So for those of you who are curious, as I mentioned the wildfires before, what our weather model is actually putting in front of us here is not necessarily mist, but actually smoke, unfortunately. So that's why it's so thick, even though when we left earlier from Kelowna, it was not nearly this bad in terms of how dense and thick the fog we were dealing with was. Alright, 2,000 feet. Being nice and intimate with this mountain off to our left here, but we're entering a river valley, so it should be alright. So it looks like that's the bend, and Kamloops is just over there somewhere. So once we get a bit closer, we should be able to see across the river towards the airport. At which point we might need to initiate a turn to lose some altitude, but not just yet. We're just down to 1,500 because we really need to be able to see the ground, frankly. We have our altimeter set, so that's all good. We have plenty of fuel, and some of the visibility is not bad. We can see some things at least. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen. We can now see Kamloops just around here. You can see the highway running through it. You can see malls and houses, shopping centers, and the like. So for those of you who are familiar with the area, welcome to Kamloops, albeit overhead. And we're now just looking for opportunities to spot the airport across the water. It will be farther, it won't be just over here, it's going to be much farther down. But all that being said, we have to keep our eyes open. Pretty low, so we shouldn't have much problem with any final approach getting set up at a decent glide slope. Here we are now, just coming up to downtown Kamloops over here. You can see the cars and trucks below, all doing their thing. The city really feels alive in that way. More buildings, really sticks out of the mountain, but almost looks like part of it in a way, if that makes any sense. Alright, so as we're passing over, well, there's some tense courts it seems. Making good progress towards the airport. So now, since we will be landing shortly, just going to configure the engine landing. And ladies and gentlemen, there seem to be the runway guiding lights off in the distance. So with that, let's just get our heading pipper around so we can line up with it a bit. We're off to the left. And autopilot is off. Now manual control. Stay nice and low so that we can see things well. There's a bit of power here. Go for climb bit. Go. Right, and with that, gears coming down. Flaps being set to landing. See, we have a bit of a crosswind on landing here. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Kamloops. We finally made it. We're just now going to get ourselves clear of the runway. We're crossing over runway 23 right now. It's a very small runway. We're on the larger one here at Kamloops today. There's our way off the runway here. So we're just going to make our way over there. Here we are. We have the runway. Make strobe light off. We're going to take bay number 2 here. And come to a full stop. With that, we have engine shutdown. And open our doors. And there you go, folks. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to Kamloops after a very difficult flight coming from the weather conditions, but otherwise pretty good. I hope you all enjoyed it and had a really good time today with these 3 legs. You can definitely join us tomorrow for the last of our legs, where we'll be flying in this plane over to Whistler, then to Vancouver, and then finally our last flight of the Darwin Days Memorial flight from Vancouver Harbor to Victoria Harbor. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day, folks, and I can't wait to see you all in the sky in this amazing beaver tomorrow. Have a great day, folks.